Alright guys, here is our video lecture all about photosynthesis and cellular respiration. We talked about both of these processes yesterday, so for the most part this is going to be a review for you. We're really not going over any new information. There's one little chunk that might be a little new, but that's it. So just remind me, we're going to start off nice and easy. What is the chemical formula for photosynthesis? Hopefully you were able to tell me that I need a little bit of carbon dioxide in order for my cells in my plant to be able to do photosynthesis. I need a little bit of water and I need light. And after I combine that carbon dioxide, H2O, and light energy, I'm able to produce sugar in the form of glucose and a byproduct of oxygen. In this case, oxygen isn't used, it's respired or breathed out by my plant. This is review for you. This is something maybe though that you didn't realize yesterday on your notes, but the reactants of photosynthesis are the products of cellular respiration, and the products of photosynthesis are the reactants of cellular respiration. We haven't done our chemistry unit yet, but it is coming. It'll be our next unit. You'll soon learn that reactants are things that react or combine together to form products or the end of a chemical reaction, the end result. So the reactants are what we add together. The product is the final result. So if you compared a chemical reaction to, say, like baking, the reactants would be like your eggs and your sugar and your flour. The products would be like your cake, so whatever is being made. Okay, so remember the reactants of photosynthesis are carbon dioxide, water, and light, or energy. And the products are glucose, or sugar, and oxygen. If you flip this arrow right here to be going this way, you should be able to realize that this is cellular respiration when we take glucose and oxygen and we break it into energy, water, and carbon dioxide. This is what we call a reverse reaction. That's why I can draw this arrow this way. Remember, this arrow means yield. When I've got two arrowheads on my yield sign, that means that the product is a reverse reaction, meaning that they're opposites of one another. So when I asked you to memorize the chemical equation for photosynthesis and cellular respiration, you really only had to memorize one, because you know that cellular respiration is the opposite of photosynthesis. So again, this is something I expect you to know, the chemical equation. So know and understand the chemical equation, please. And please understand that they are reverse reactions, meaning that they're opposites of one another. Alright, let's review though. Okay, so here's another way to view those reactants and products, maybe in picture form, that might help connect the dots a little bit for you. So again, what does our plant need to power photosynthesis? Hopefully the sunshine has flashed in your mind, or the word sun. Photosynthesis does need sunlight to power the reaction. It's what gives that initial boost and brings that reaction to life. And then we know that photosynthesis, the products of photosynthesis, we've gone a little bit backwards here. Our product is glucose, the main product we're worried about. That's sugar. We want to make our food. Food is glucose here. They use the glucose to power their cells. And oxygen is our other byproduct. We know that animals or squirrels or things like us, and plants as well, do cellular respiration as well. So they'll take in that glucose from eating and the oxygen from breathing, and they're going to use those to form carbon dioxide as a byproduct and water. But we know that the animals use that glucose and oxygen to create their own energy, which we're going to learn in a second is called ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. And then just so you know, animals give off heat as a byproduct of these reactions as well. Now, this is something that we haven't talked about yet, but it's something I want to get your brain gears kind of turning about. On the right-hand side of the screen, you have a graph that shows time on the y-axis, horizontal, and x-axis. I said that wrong. At time on the x-axis, the horizontal, and atmospheric carbon dioxide on the y-axis going up means that we're increasing, and we've got a plot over time of the annual atmospheric carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. You can see that the atmospheric CO2 goes down in the summer. That's what this graph is telling us. If I asked you to tell the story of the graph, that's what you would tell me. Why do you think that is? Why do you think the carbon dioxide goes down in the summer and up in the winter months? Hopefully, you were able to deduce or think about it enough and think that our greener months are often the July and October in the northern hemisphere. During those greener months, when the trees have leaves, more carbon dioxide is taken in from the atmosphere because there's more photosynthesis going on. In the winter months, our plants often go dormant, so they are no longer doing photosynthesis at that time, meaning that our carbon dioxide levels often increase because there's nothing or little taking in carbon dioxide in the winter months. Isn't it funny how that's linked? We'll look at that a little bit more closely when if you look at that a little bit more closely, or you'll see that this is cyclic and it happens every year. When we study climate change next year, we're going to learn just how important photosynthesis is in trying to regulate climate and what you can do to help prevent climate change. But that's a topic for 9th grade, so we'll discuss that then. Next, we've got some more review. On the very top, you've got a chloroplast, which, reminder, is the site of photosynthesis. Our chloroplasts are responsible for making food or glucose, because again, this is the site of photosynthesis. And then on the bottom half, you've got our mitochondria, which is the site of cellular respiration, or the process responsible for making energy. Now, can you answer my question here in the green or orange bar on the left-hand side? Which one of these, mitochondria or chloroplasts, is found inside the animal cell? Hopefully you were able to answer for me that mitochondria is found inside the animal cell. Now for chloroplast, which one is found inside the plant cell? Oh, I accidentally gave you your answer. Chloroplasts are found inside the plant cell, but also mitochondria as well. That was kind of a trick question. So we find mitochondria and chloroplasts in our plant cells. We only find mitochondria in the animal cells. They do not have chloroplasts because animals cannot make their own food. They need to eat in order to get energy. And lastly, we talked about cellular respiration, how it creates energy, but how does the molecule actually store the energy? ATP is how it does. So ATP is our molecule that's responsible for providing your cells with all of the energy that they need. This is actually the end product of cellular respiration that we didn't quite write down. We get carbon dioxide and water as our end product, but we also get energy. That's the whole point of doing cellular respiration, to give your cells energy. We store it in adenosine triphosphate. Let's look exactly how, and please label these pieces. So label the phosphates. Adenosine stands for adenine, which is a nucleotide base. We studied that a little bit when we talked about DNA. We'll talk about it more in biology in 10th grade. And sine stands for ribose, which is a sugar. And triphosphate, the tri here stands for 3, and phosphate stands for phosphate. So we've got 3 phosphate groups tagged on to that ribose sugar, tagged on to an adenine base, and our cells use this for energy. Let's show you how. So think of ATP as a charged battery. So we've just undergone some cellular respiration. I've created my energy. Now I've got an adenosine triphosphate right here at the top part of my diagram. My battery is charged. But if I add in some oxygen, I'm going to break off one of these phosphate groups. And whenever I break a bond, I often release energy. So energy is released. So whenever the cell needs to do something, say move, or I don't know, make copies of its DNA, it's going to use this ATP. It's going to add some water and break the bond and release a lot of energy. So we've used our battery up. And it forms a 1-phosphate group and an ADP. Now, cellular respiration, when we look at it in depth in biology, we're going to learn that it adds a phosphate group back here, but it takes some energy to do that. That's where the glucose comes in. The glucose is the energy supply that we use to add a phosphate group to this ADP. And then my battery's charged again when I add that phosphate, and it can be used again and again. All right, so we're going to go more into depth with that in biology, but that hopefully has given you a basic understanding of the differences and the similarities between photosynthesis and cellular respiration, and how we store energy and use energy and make energy on a molecular level. Starting tomorrow, we're going to look at how we intake that energy on a larger scale level, talking about nutrition and the different types of food that we eat. So this is it for molecular level. If you have any questions, please email me. If not, have a great day, and I will see you back here tomorrow.